He was like the midday guy, like right around like 1990. Long time ago. Yeah. Party, and no, I didn't bring my girlfriend. I would joke here about Dennis's invisible girlfriend. This is long before he met his wife. I'd never met his wife, but I'd met his old girlfriend a couple of times. He and I were out drinking. He said, "Come home and see my." They were living behind the Target there on Sawmill Road. He said, "Come in and see my giant, this new fish tank I got."
Hold
okay.
on. Don't tell the fish tank story. We're online. I hit that by accident.
Okay.
Retype it.
Oh, we're online?
We are now.
Hey, we got a different view.
I know.
Oh, we're doing it again? People are going to online?
Listen, you're very famous.
Oh, yeah.
People want to see your mug.
You see that okay? Or do you need to move this a little bit?
Yeah,
That is
about right.
literally just all
Look at that.
Jeffrey.
That's me, man.
And
Look
his
at that.
glory. All right, let's do it. Let's do the
You're
4
not
C's.
shooting from up here. Shooting from down there.
Piece of junk.
Yeah.
C. C.
See, there you go.
The 4 C's.
Hello, everybody.
Okay.
Anybody out there? Is anybody listening?
Yeah, we got.
You got one?
My buddy Wayne.
Hey,
my buddy
Wayne.
Tony.
What up, Wayne? Yeah, you're in for some riveting conversation here.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Welcome to the Meyers Jewelers Experience. I'm Jeff, and I'm always experiencing Meyers Jewelers.
Constantly.
Yes, and as Jim, I always like to point out Rachel in the back as she sleeps, and there's Morris over there.
Jeff, it is so good to do this show again.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm excited about this topic because I don't think we've done this with you before. We've done this with Scott, but I always like to get...
What are we talking about?
Well, we're going to talk about...
Rock and roll?
Well, we can get into a little rock and roll as we always do, but we want to talk about the 4 C's of diamond buying.
Oh, yes. By the way, just to get off, rock and roll, there is a great new band.
Go on.
Great band. They were at Rockin' the Range, and unfortunately, I didn't know about them, so I didn't get to see them. But the band's name is Greta Van Fleet.
Yes.
Ah, yeah.
Ah, Rachel said yes. What do you think, Rachel?
I like them.
They are awesome.
They are getting some real heat.
Oh, man, they are good. And my son, Ethan, is going, probably not even sure if I can say this, but I'm saying it anyways.
You can?
July 31st, they're playing in Cleveland. He's already got it set up to go backstage and work on clothing for him. They're ready to kind of get some outfits going.
That's awesome.
They are literally on the verge of just breaking loose like crazy.
I've been hearing a lot about them lately, and I don't hear a lot about the music. Like, I hear about entertainment more than I do music anymore, but that's a name that keeps popping up all over
So
the
people
place.
out there, check out Greta Van Fleet. They sound a lot like Led Zeppelin from the 60s and 70s. Really, really good. Great sound, great rock and roll. I'm hoping that revives rock and roll for the young people because the young people
never really heard rock and roll.
don't. The only rock and roll they know is the old classic bands that's all they did when I was young was rock and roll. There was little rhythm and blues, that type of stuff, but we're talking rock and roll, Stones, Zeppelin,
Aerosmith,
Rush. I mean, it just goes on and on. Ozzy. So
Iron
hopefully
Maiden.
it might get these guys re-going. Like my son Shane Wiseman, who's
I've
artist.
heard of him, and who was a
Yes.
guest on one of our other radio
Yes.
shows.
He does the folk rock, which is a version of rock and roll, which I actually kind of like, especially his.
You have to.
Yeah, no, his is really good though. But he's playing actually. So anybody check out Shane Wiseman on SoundCloud. I think you'll truly enjoy his music. But he's playing a festival in L.A. He got signed on
wow.
for. Yeah, that's pretty big.
Because he's been in New York. You should tell people.
He's
that.
been all over New York. Anybody listening in New York, you're there. He's just played Sunday at the Bitter End, which is a big time club. But getting back to what we were going to discuss.
Yeah. I
Yes.
was like getting back to.
I
rock
had
and
Greta
roll.
Van Fleet on my brain, so I was one, and I'm fortunately going to be seeing Greta Van Fleet in Las Vegas because they're going to be at
Don't
the
say,
music...
yeah, you're going to a music festival.
Yep,
Just
that's
don't-
what I
yeah.
said.
Okay,
Did you not hear me say the music
I was
festival?
just trying to help you.
I was going to a music festival, and they are playing. So hopefully Ethan's meeting goes well, and then I'll get to have my own meeting with them.
Yeah. Well, the reason you didn't see them was because you were with Ice-T and you were with JB Smooth.
Yeah, that
That's
was the
why I didn't
reason. I was
see
probably hanging out, partying with those guys too
Yeah.
much.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the 4C's because everybody loves your rock trivia. But the 4C's.
Back to 4C's.
We haven't really gone
Yes.
through this with you. So you can pick the order in which you want to go through.
Okay,
them.
so when somebody is buying a diamond, and the beauty of, in my last show, we discussed online purchasing versus going into the
brick and
store,
mortar.
into a brick and mortar store. And this is one of the big reasons why you would want to go into a store versus going online to make your purchase. So you got the 4C's: color, cut, clarity, carat weight. Carat weight, very easy to figure out how much the stone weighs, whether it's a 1 carat, half carat, 2 carat, whatever you want to get into. The next thing that's very important, and not many people put a lot of attention to this, although it's becoming more popular, is the cut. So when the raw rock comes out of the ground, how well does the diamond cutter cut it to get that finished product that you see in all the beautiful rings, earrings, whatever. And there is a formula that they try to get to that would be called an ideal perfect cut. And if you reach that perfect cut, the diamond will sparkle more than a diamond that is not cut as perfect.
Because that's the whole thing about this, right?
So
The
when
stone
you
get.
buy a diamond, what most of the young ladies out there, and the older ladies, and the middle ladies, all sorts of ladies,
All the single ladies.
and married ladies that are wanting an upgrade, want a diamond that sparkles. You don't want a diamond that's dead, that's just sitting on the finger, and when the light hits it, it looks like a dead rock.
It's just gray.
Right. You want something that pops, that sparkles, that attracts the eyeball, like somebody in it. So Hearts on Fire diamonds are called the world's most perfectly cut diamond. It's trademarked. It has been challenged in a court of law 3 times in Massachusetts, because that's where their corporate office is, that they cannot use that as their trademark because it is not the world's most perfectly cut diamond. Well, guess what? All 3 times they won, because it truly is the world's most perfectly cut diamond. And therefore, it is the world's most sparkly diamond. You come into our store sometime, walk over to the Hearts on Fire boutique that we have in our store, and if those diamonds don't sparkle more than any diamond you've ever seen, I will clean your jewelry free of charge right then and there. Now, I'll clean it free anyways, but
I was gonna say,
if you come
that's
in.
not much.
But I just am extremely confident that that will be the brightest diamond that you have ever seen. Period. No questions. So,
That's the 10-table ring.
that is the 10-table diamond. We get people that will come in that have bought Hearts on Fire and say they were in a movie, watching a movie, and the person at the down the row said, when the movie was over, interrupted and said, can I ask you a quick question? What type of diamond is that? Because the entire movie, it was catching the light coming off the screen and sparkling like nothing I've ever seen in a dark movie theater. Because what happens with a diamond, the light that you see, the sparkle, that is the light that is coming in from wherever you're at, going through the top of the diamond, bouncing around in the diamond, and if it's cut properly, the light will come back out the top of the diamond. The worse it's cut, it goes out the bottom, and hence less sparkle. So obviously a movie theater light coming from the screen is not very much. And that was going in the Hearts on Fire diamonds, bouncing around and coming out and actually sparkling inside a dark movie theater. So that is a great testament to how beautiful the Hearts on Fire diamonds are. But cut, you know, it's something you don't really see that sparkle, and you can't really compare it to 10 other stones of the same color and clarity, but different cut grades. And something like that, you know, tying in last week's conversation with buying online versus in the store, there's no way you can pick the perfect stone by doing it online and not seeing the sparkle and the beauty of the stone.
Also, not being able to compare it to something else, correct? Because a lot of times
Yes.
you guys will get mounts out there in the store and lay the diamond on top.
Yeah, they can see 10 different stones, you know, 10 different 1 carats, 20 different, whatever. We got tons of them, and looking at it online just doesn't quite do them justice. And you are cheating yourself by not picking the absolute best diamond you could, by not going into a brick and mortar store and making the purchase. And you can see price-wise will not be a huge difference either.
I want to ask you something, because I know we're going to get to weight down the line, but...
We did. I said carat weight. That was the first C. That's the easiest, whatever it weighs.
Well, what I mean is a lot of people will talk about, they're not talking about the look as much as the weight. Like when females get together, and I'm not trying to stereotype, but I'm just saying when I got married, it was what weight is it? So it had to be at least 1. But it was like, oh, it's 1 3/4, whatever. What it seemed to be, that was what was more important.
Correct.
I think that's more in a social setting. You're saying the light refracted out of it is really what counts. That shows the cut. So the cut
Is very important. Hearts on Fire has made a business that's been around now for 20 years all about the cut of the diamond. They're the ones that brought that to the forefront in the industry. Because people didn't really pay a ton of attention to it.
Right.
Only people that did major research. You know, we didn't have the internet 30 years ago to type in what's important about a diamond. You know, you just kind of color clarity, you know, what else? How big it is, and that's it. People thought cut was what shape it is, which is part of it.
Right.
The shape is important, but then how did it turn into that rock that you see on the finger from the ground is very, very important. And our bright crystal diamond is also done that way. Not quite to the technical status of Hearts on Fire, but just below it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's a price differential. You do pay a premium for the Hearts on Fire diamond because of how beautifully cut they are.
But you've also said because the Hearts on Fire is taking the top diamonds.
They grab the top 1% of diamond rock from the De Beers warehouse when they get the rocks from the mines. And they get to handpick the best. So that goes into the price as well. And then after that, they cut it. Most diamonds are cut under 10 power magnification. So they'll put it in the machine, the diamond cutter will start cutting it, and it's cut under 10 power. Hearts on Fire does everything at 100 power. Big difference. So they are way more precise in their cutting. So and every single diamond is a perfect cut at 100 power. So little difference there.
Right.
So that's the carat weight. That is the cut. And then you have the next two things, which a lot of people are familiar with, is the color and clarity of the diamond.
Will you do color for me, just because I think this is the thing that is most misunderstood. Outside of weight, I think color is something that, unless you're trained to look at this the right way, like especially Scott, like you're great at it, but Scott can look at something across the room.
He's the master.
Yeah, I mean, he just nails it, and he loves to eat up that data of what that is. But can you kind of touch on why that's important, why color is such a big deal?
Yes. So when a diamond comes out of the ground, it can range in color from a beautiful white all the way to a brown, a gray, or a ugly yellow. Okay.
Is that a technical term? The
Yes, ugly yellow.
stone?
Reason why I said ugly yellow, because there is a gorgeous yellow as well. And that is called a fancy yellow diamond. And we're not discussing those. That's different. Because there's fancy yellow, there's fancy pink, there's fancy blue.
That is a diamond? I've
that
never
are-
heard of a blue diamond.
Actual, true diamond. A natural, beautiful blue diamond that's, say, a 1 carat would, and if it's, like a perfect 1 carat, beautiful, natural, really beautiful blue, will sell for roughly around $1 million.
Wow.
Yes. So they're very rare. But we're not discussing those. We're talking what would be for a white diamond and then how far off white it gets. So there's a scale that goes from D, as in David, to Z. And the further the diamond drifts from pure white, the further you move down that scale. So if it's just a hair of yellow that you never could ever see, unless you put it next to one of those D color diamonds that are perfect white, you would never see it.
But they are noticeable to the eye. You don't have to put them under the magnifying.
Yes, that would be it too noticeable to the eye, but like if it's an F color, which is 2 grades away from perfect, D, you would have to pretty much put it next to that D to see the color difference. So when you start working your way down, like G, H, I, J, that's when the yellow just starts to show up in the stone much easier, and you don't have to start comparing it to a D color to see that there might be a little yellow in it. And the more yellow, the further down the scale you go. So that's pretty much it for color.
Well, hold
So
off
if you
on
get
that.
a D color,
Well, wait, because we have to take a break real quick. But I don't want to cut you off. Can we?
You
take
just
this
did,
back?
but that's okay.
Well, I had to. We're up against the break. But when we come back, I'm going to let you finish that.
oh, I can't wait.
Okay, you're listening to Meyers Jewelers Experience. Just pick back up right where you were. I just wanted to do that because we went over.
I didn't know there was 2 types of like blue and pink and, like you said, ugly yellow and
Beautiful
fancy
yellow. You've probably heard the term canary yellow.
I've heard
of
of
a
that.
canary diamond.
Yeah.
That's not the technical term, but that's a name they were given to a fancy yellow diamond.
I thought when you were saying there was a blue one, like that was like, let's throw this out. I didn't realize how much money that was worth. I've never
Oh, yeah.
seen one.
Yeah, don't throw it out.
Have you ever seen one in person?
Yes.
Is it? I mean, what's it look? How's it look when you're looking? Is it cool? Other than the fact it's blue, I mean, can you see the colors?
It's cool
through
because
it?
you know it's worth $1 million.
Yeah, seriously. My goodness.
All right,
Yeah.
let's take this one home here.
Okay.
All right, but bring her home.
10, 11 more minutes.
Oh, gosh.
We can do
Did
it.
I
you can
talk
do
that
it.
long?
We just
Yeah.
did 45 minutes. Where I'm like,
You
hey, what
talked
about
about
this?
rock and you talked about rock.
Okay,
About
there you go.
On the rock.
Yeah.
Needs to talk about the rock.
Yeah.
All right.
Here we go.
All righty. Welcome back to the Meyers Jewelers Experience. And I'm sitting here with Mike, just having a nice little conversation about color, cut, and clarity and carat weight on diamonds. Very riveting conversation.
Yes. Well, I'm sorry I had to cut you off because we had to take a break. But
That's
we were
okay.
talking about color, and I realized I was not paying attention to the clock because I was so
Oh,
pulled
I
in by
know
what
you got
were
so
saying.
wrapped into that, didn't you?
Well, I did not. First of all, I didn't realize that there was a blue diamond. First of all, I don't know how many
Yes,
people
yes,
knew that.
yes.
But you were talking about the varying degree of yellow that shows up in a diamond. I didn't
Correct.
know that was the
So,
marker.
for example, which I was getting ready to get into, if you have a D color diamond, now this is where the combination of the 4C's comes in. You could have a D color diamond, which means it is perfect, beautiful white, but cut very poorly, where it gets literally no sparkle. You will see a white stone with no pop, no sparkle, no glitz. That's what you want in your diamond. So that is where the price of that stone will drop because it is cut so poorly, you're not taking full advantage of that beautiful D color. So people could say, "Ooh, I bought a D color diamond," but it's cut so bad it just looks awful, and therefore that could be one reason why they might have found it online for a lot cheaper.
Right.
And sometimes you're not going to really even notice it till you put it next to Mary Lou's D-color diamond that is a hearts on fire, or a bright crystal diamond that's cut beautifully, and the sparkle kills the other one. So that's very important. So imagine getting a D color with a diamond that it's cut perfect, and the beauty that that stone will give off is just awesome.
I think Scott said something about, like, if you had a D-colored diamond, but it was, I think he said it was shallow. If it was cut or it looked shallow, it would cut off the amount of light that could
Correct.
go through
Or
it.
too thick can do it too.
Oh, there is such a
Too
thing.
deep. Yeah, it could be too deep. And you don't want a too deep of a stone because that means more of the weight will be below on the bottom where it's covered and not spread out on the top. So a 1 carat might look like a 3/4 carat, but you paid for a 1 carat. That's the other little trick that a lot of the online guys will use because those diamonds are out there. And they're obviously less money because you're buying a 1 carat that looks like a 3/4,
Well,
but it still weighs 1, so you're not
Right.
paying a 3/4 price.
You're paying for the weight, but not the actual look.
So yes, so exactly. So that's another thing you need to look into, and that goes with the carat weight and the cut. So we've got carat weight, cut, and color. So the last of the 4C's, even though we put in there a fifth, which I'll talk about in a minute, is clarity, and that is pretty easy. That is the imperfections that are inside of the diamond that were put in there by Mother Nature. That is in there when you look at it under 10 power magnification. So an SI1, so you can get flawless where there's absolutely no flaws, so it's perfect. And then the more that are in there, the further down the scale you go. So anything basically from an SI1 all the way to flawless to your naked eye will look the same because they're not visible to the eye. Everything below that, which would be like an SI2, SI3, I1, I2, I3, those are all clarity grades that you could see the flaw with the naked eye. And the further you go down the scale, the easier it is to see. So you go to one of the big box department stores to buy your engagement ring, you are going to most likely get a highly flawed stone that you'll be able to see the flaw with the naked eye. So that's another good reason why you probably would want to look at your stone before you buy it at a jeweler and compare and see, which grading works good for you. Because if you start getting those higher clarity grades, they get very expensive. So you got to try to get, what I tell the customers is we try to come up with a good match of the 4 different things, the color, cut, clarity, and carat weight, to get you within the price point that works for you and to get the stone that is the type of stone you want. So if somebody wants really high clarity, really high color, and they don't care if the stone's smaller than what they originally came in for, then that's what they would end up, they'd sacrifice carat weight. Usually you have to sacrifice somewhere to get it in the price point you want to be in.
But another interesting thing you told me a long time ago was the lighting that you're looking at it in. And the reason I think that's important is, and I don't think anyone's going to believe this, you told me who the largest jewelry seller is retail-wise in the country.
Yes.
Who is that?
Walmart.
Right. Which I could...
And I believe Kohl's is right behind them.
Right. So when you told me that, I thought, that's impossible. Because if you're not in the market for jewelry, you're not thinking about it. But I do see people at that jewelry counter all the time, and I do see people that are looking at engagement rings.
You go to Walmart, walk around their jewelry counter, there's generally people there all the time.
But the lighting in there is insane. I mean, that is essentially a warehouse that also has toothpaste for sale, right? And it's not...
They got
I love
everything.
Walmart. Okay, I'm not knocking it. I'm saying the lighting in there is so much different than having the lighting in a jewelry store that has a boutique or certain lights, so you can actually see that sparkle. I mean, you can see it when it's set on the counter and it's set inside of a mount. You can see the light reflecting out of it. I don't think that, and I'm not knocking the stones there, but there's no way you could tell what you really have on your finger by looking at it under those lights.
It would be difficult, but also we tell people to, because we make sure, like our bright crystal diamond and the Hearts on Fire, we take them after they've examined it in the lights that help with the sparkle. We tell them take it out, go outside, go find the darkest spot in the store as long as there's a little bit of light, and see how it's still gorgeous and sparkles beautifully. And that sells it.
Right.
Because they've seen it in the bright lights, and then they go in a more natural light setting and go, whoa, that still sparkles amazing. Which it will, because if a stone is cut, again, really beautifully, doesn't take a lot of light to get the sparkle, because whatever little bit goes in that diamond's going to pop back out the top, not the bottom.
I just thought it was important to cover the fact that, again, the lighting that you're looking at, like, if it doesn't pop when you have it on your hand, already the grading is a little off, right?
Yes.
So that's not what you're looking for. And most of the time, for a little bit more money, you guys can find someone's budget versus buying it at a Walmart
Correct.
or a Kohl's.
We will fit your budget, what you guys want to spend, or ladies, and not force you and hard sell you to move up. We figure your budget, we go over everything, color, cut, clarity, carat weight, and we come up with a good combo that works for the customer, because everybody's different.
And I think, and I've watched you guys give people that kind of tutorial on it, which I always think is, from an outsider's view, just watching it, it is always fun to see you start that process, because I've seen you do it so many times with Scott, where you're like, okay,
I love doing it still to this day.
it is like kind of watching Barnum & Bailey, but on a real low key, because you start out with, let's start with this, and you're walking them through it, but you're not selling them. This is what you're
One
looking
last
for.
thing, because
Sure.
Jim has given us a very short time window here, and I want to get to the fifth C
Oh, yeah, go
that's
ahead.
not officially a C, but that is the sparkle. There's actually a company that grades the sparkle of a diamond. And the bright crystal diamond, we have all of our diamonds sparkle graded as well. And for example, if it gets an exceptional sparkle grade, that means that diamond, for the same color, cut, and clarity, if you compared it to every diamond in the entire world, it would sparkle as much or more than 95% of every diamond in the world for that color and clarity. Understood? You know what that meant?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then the next grade down is very good, and that gets 90%. So that would be better than 90% of every diamond in the world for sparkle. So our bright crystal diamond, you get everything graded, including the sparkle, and that's part of the deal why we're so confident on the diamond rock that comes from Russia being the brightest versus the diamond rock that comes from South Africa, which we've discussed before, and maybe the next episode we will touch up a little bit on that to show the difference between the Russian rock and the South African rock, on why the Russian rock is so much brighter. Hence the name of our diamond, the bright crystal diamond.
I think that's cool. Yeah, because
All right.
it'll be a couple weeks, but we will definitely touch that.
Well, I look forward to going into it. Maybe I'll bring some samples and show everybody on there.
That would be awesome.
All right.
All right.
Sign us off. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for listening, and hope everybody has a great day. And signing off from the Meyers Jewelers Experience.